Alright, so I'm gonna get through the rest of this video or this portion or this filming session with a um, stuffy nose and sneezing, so just be mindful of that part. So I don't know exactly the number, and I had it on a spreadsheet where I had all the numbers and all the hats. And all I had to do was just get them out, put them in a line, and be like, all right, 50, 49, 45, 44, and go in order. But then I'm like, I should add this hat in there. So I don't know what number I'm going to be on. So I'm just gonna kind of show the hats off and kind of do a countdown of. I mean, this is gonna be like the top 50, like I said, 50-ish. Ish. Wait, hold on. Okay, that looks better. So, starting off, this Baltimore Orioles, the black denim. I think this year was a huge year for this like off-white hat color, kind of like a cream color, I guess. And so many places did it. And what New Era did with their this wasn't a just cap collection, but this one was a good collection. They call it black denim, where it's this the off white and the button and brim are this kind of like black denim, kind of like you'd see on like jeans. It didn't really fit me all too well, which kind of stinks because it's a really good hat. I thought it was a really good collection. I got a Cubs one, but I was never able to really stretch it out as much as I wish I could have. Um, and this one was the best I could stretch out for the Royals. And I don't have a 83 World Series side patch, so hat 50. Again, I'll try to put the numbers in the corner in editing and post production. So this is the first time that I bought a hat from Cap King USA out in New York. They're always mentioned, they're always talked about, and they're a great place. It's just that they hadn't had a hat that necessarily wowed me enough that I needed it. Because I usually will get a hat because I can connect to it, or it's a Cubs hat. So this was a great Cubs hat that I saw at the kind of the mocha, pink mocha collection idea, where it's the pink UV, like the pink accents with this mocha brown color. But what I really liked about this, I knew I could get this one because usually this kind of color will just disappear so fast. But I knew I could get this one because the snapback. This is what made it cool. So I was really excited to see a snapback hat with like. So someone had tipped me off of where to get a certain hockey team hat in a 5950 fitted because there's a huge dispute, or New Era lost the contract with at the NHL back in 2017, 2016, 17, and it's now Fanatics and Adidas as the primary brands for apparel, and it's just not the same compared to like New Era. So it's a very stadium team store exclusive thing to get for the New Era hats for the hockey games, and I am at this moment 4 teams away: Oilers, Capitals, Jets, and Flames. Calgary Flames. I have an Atlanta Flames hat. Calgary Flames. But this one, the newer team, Seattle Kraken. This one was really cool. Wish I got it in like the all. I wish that the colors were reversed here. There was a mint brim and a navy brim, but I've been looking back, and I mean, one that will fit, because I did get it, but it was really tight. Even for a 7.5, this was tight, and this was like at the beginning of the year, where like a 7.5 should easily fit without having to like really stretch it out, compared to now where it's like, all right, 7.5, gotta stretch it a little bit. This was earlier in the year where it's like, this is noticeably tighter than it should be. So I've been waiting to get the 5/8 version of like the color flip. So this next hat is important. I got over 100 hats in my collection this year, so I crossed the 500th mark. We'll see that hat later on, and then the 600th hat mark as well. And so in total is about 130. I think I said 120 before, but it's 134 hats this year. And going to the 600th hat, DC is Roman numerals for 600. I was thinking about like a Washington Nationals hat, but then someone at work said DC, like the comics. And I'm like, I like that idea. So I ran with it. Got Batman hats. So, what was the unfortunate timing was, I mean, I like this hat. It came from superherostuff.com, kind of like a whole website of superhero apparel and novelties. The snapback of a dad hat kind of feels weird, but plain logo, pretty simple. But what was unfortunate about getting it with the timing, I got it on a Thursday. I believe it was November 17th, and then it was November 18th, that Friday, that Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman from the animated series Justice League, the greatest Batman voice of all time, passed away in his 60s. I don't remember his exact age, but it was young. It was unexpected. So, hats off to Kevin Conroy, and we'll miss him as the Batman. Alright, so in terms of other important hats that I didn't get to for a video this year, so I'm trying to do some catch up here. If you go on my Instagram or Twitter, although somehow my Twitter got shut down, so on my Instagram, you see it as Prof Hatter 57. Now 57, I chose as a number that when I started being Professor Hatter, I started with 57 hats in my collection. So this next hat is my 557th hat in my collection, which is my 500th hat as Professor Hatter. Boston Red Sox, City Connect, in a 47 brand. And clean up. This is a cool hat. It's nothing I would say, too spectacular, because we're kind of used to now the idea of like City Connect and like a side patch or a color UV. But thinking 4.5 years ago or 4 years ago when I got this hat at the time, in this past summer, 4 years ago when I started being Professor Hatter, back in June of 2018, something like this was almost inconceivable. It was kind of like, if like I was to put this into 2018, be like, why would you do that to a Boston hat? Why would you make it all different colors? So kind of a way to like show, how time has passed. Kind of an interesting way to view how hats have kind of evolved, kind of in a short amount of time of, in my tenure here, but in hat history in general. So this one is, I guess you could say, maybe a dumb hat, but this is for sure a hat that no one else has. I guarantee you, no one else has. And that's what I take pride in my hat collection, with the idea of hat diversity. It's on my other coffee mug, but having my hat diversity means I can be more open-minded to different hats, and they don't have to be a 50-50 fit hat to have a connection to it. And for this hat, it is based off of a place that my dad actually went to this past summer for work that he wanted to bring us to as a family for vacation years ago when I was probably in middle school. And he had mentioned it at the time, and we're all like, that sounds dumb, Dad. But looking back, it's kind of easy not to say, oh man, we should have gone to the Spam Museum. So my dad brought me back a Spam Museum hat. It's a dad hat. It's a strap back, and it's navy with yellow writing on the front. So this is, do I wear this a whole lot? Not really, but I just think it's a cool hat. It's a different hat for sure than what anyone else would find. So that's what makes my collection quirky. So I thought it was really cool to get. And yeah, let's move on. So this next hat, technically, there's kind of like two entries to it, but technically this is for the team that I root for, I guess you could say. But there's another team out there from the same league that I have another hat of. But this one I had to take because it's, the team that I picked back in 2020 when America was in lockdown of COVID, and hat friend of ours, our little group, introduced us into rugby in Australia. And for me, it was kind of easy to pick the Brisbane Broncos because it's the same name as the Denver Broncos. I know that there's a Panther hat that I have that one of my hat friends, Red Sand, Florida, gave to me for Christmas. This was my birthday gift, the Christmas gift. I don't have it out, but that was kind of like a tie, I guess. But I'm a Broncos fan, anyways. So this is just a cool hat. Like the colors, kind of like a darker maroon, darker burgundy. So great hat, snapback, gray UV, perfect. So the next three hats here, I actually fit a theme. It was just coincidence how it happened. That it's three of these in kind of ascending order: lowest, middle, highest. For these City Connect hats. Now these are the official on-field City Connect hats. This was like a fashion City Connect hat that I got from Joel. You would know him at Full Count Studios, from the Stadium store. I like this one a little bit better because it has the side patch on the side for the Rockies that would be like on the shoulder or the sleeve side patch there. Green UV it's tonal technically, but this would have been like if you added the side patch to all the other hats from this year. I mean, this was like one of the best City Connect hats from 2021, maybe second best after the Chicago Cubs. The Nationals came out swinging this year, having a side patch with their cherry blossom tree and the extra blossoms on the petals on the front. Now this was a really cool one, and this one doesn't fit me. I hate that it doesn't, because I wear it more often. I just need to get a 5/8. This is more of a material and country of origin build of why it doesn't fit. But still, there's a side patch, and kind of picked up on like the culture that we have now of side patches with our fashion hats. And a lot of hat collectors were kind of like, "Oh, this is cool that they're doing it," even though it's on field, because a lot of these hat collectors nowadays aren't smart enough to appreciate an on field, which is okay. And they just didn't continue this kind of pattern with the other on field City Connect hats, which was kind of a shame. Which I think it would have, I guess, connected like the hat collectors to these on-field hats. Not that hat collectors need to tell the MLB design team what to do. That's not what they're there for. That's not what the hat collectors are there for. They're there to collect the hats that are produced. They can have feedback, but they're not there to tell what these hats should look like. But it's just kind of a shame that, I mean, this does add a little bit more to the hat, though. And the other hats just kind of went boring. I think they did something for the Astros hat, but after that, nothing. So it would have been cool if this was on the side of the Rockies on-field hat. So next one, you could say it's a Stash 1250 or Ty Mathis poor man's version of that Sports World 165 came out with. It's this Chicago Cubs green hat with a blue UV, Cubby blue UV, side patch 1990 All-Star Game. But the C has the brick and has the ivy from the outfield wall inside the C, which when I first saw that, I had clamored, I had reached out, I had done what I could to say, I'm a Cubs fan. I deliver this hat more than the other just hat collectors out there. So it's still kind of a thing of like, people maybe aren't giving hats good homes because they're not actual sports fans of the team. So, I need to advocate that I'm a fan of the team. I will appreciate the hat more than the other collectors out there who would get this. Now, I missed out on the Stash 1250. That's a Chicago hat store that they make fantastic hats, but it's usually a very quick drop, and if you're not alert, you don't get it. So, Sports World on Chicago, Sports World Chicago, actually, I think I said 165, but it's wrong. Sports World Chicago redid this somehow, so I snatched it up. It was cool to get. Speaking of another Chicago store, Leaders, dropped the 20s, did a Morton Salt Pack, and I did a whole video on explanation of the origin and the history of Morton Salt in Chicago and the salt shed, and I had to get it. I did get 2 of them, and then just the other navy one I just didn't really need, I didn't like, so I'm still working on selling it. If anyone's interested. But this one, I like that it's got like a kind of a lavender, I don't know, maybe lilac, a lighter purple UV. I like that kind of color. Side patch is a new one, 1933 inaugural All-Star Game side patch, even though the first All-Star Game was hosted by the White Sox. Next hat, this was a redemption hat. There were a few redemption hats that I had this year, and this was one of them from Hat Club, the Coors Light Colorado Rockies. And Coors Light is one of the 2 beers that I drink. Coors Light and Blue Moon are my 2 beers that I drink. And I didn't get the Blue Moon from of the Brewers because that's what they did it for, and just not a Brewers fan. But it looked like a good enough hat that they did Blue Moon plenty of times this year. But this one finally got as redemption, and just a nice color, kind of a nice tie into the beer that I drink quite a bit, but I don't drink a lot of. I'm not a big drinker. So for this hat, what is kind of odd is that you'll see the same style hat later on, like in the top 15, I think. But for the moment, it's kind of like the 40s and the 30s, I guess, at where we're at this point. But just because of the connection that I make with it, and kind of like, how many times I wear it, that I, put it in a certain spot, I guess, on the list. This is, I think, one of the best hat collections that at least Lids did this year. The Oceanside, or the Ocean Drive. Because Hat Club did something similar, or the similar naming, but they did a completely different color. But anyways, this was a really great hat. Atlanta Braves, Ocean Lids, Ocean 11. And it was a navy with like a mint accent to it. Peach UV, peach coloring as well. So I thought this was a really cool hat. I did get it in Cubs, Braves, and Orioles. By just, Orioles was okay executed, but Braves was done pretty well, and then the Cubs will be later on.